Hello everyone, I'm Maxine Ficarra, I'm CEO at PraxisAuril, and we're going to be talking today about the PraxisAuril Leadership Programme. We created and ran that for the first time online in 2021, and we will shortly be recruiting a second cohort starting in the spring of 2022. So we thought it would be a good idea to take a bit of time to explain the rationale behind this programme that we created for the KE community specifically, and describe who it's for, how to apply, because it's a little different than some of our other programmes. And of course, it gives us a great opportunity also to introduce and speak to our excellent course directors. And I'm delighted to be talking today to Paul Fairburn, Anne Lane and Simon Haslam, three of the expert practitioners who are course directing on PraxisAuril's leadership programme in 2022. Hello, everyone.
Hi. Hi, Maxine.
So let me just give you a bit of background on these guys. So Paul is director of the innovation ecosystem at Coventry University Services Limited. He's an experienced director of innovation with a background in the pharmaceutical industry, healthcare, utilities, and higher education. He has significant experience in leadership, organisational change, and strategy implementation. And a deep understanding of supplier client management, building value, propositions, collaborative partnerships, innovation management, and the development of large-scale projects. Hi, Paul.
Hello, Maxine.
Anne is CEO at UCL Business Limited. After research at UCL and Harvard Medical School, Anne worked for RTP Pharma in Montreal. And then she joined UCL Ventures in 2000 and acted as consultant for the National Transfer Centre in the US. She's now CEO of UCLB, acts as director and interim CEO on several of UCLB's spin-out companies, and oversees the company's licensing activity. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Maxine.
And then Simon. Simon is an independent consultant with over 20 years of experience as a strategy consultant and a change facilitator, working with senior leaders around the world. He's also a visiting professor at Durham University Business School, leading the strategic management module on their global MBA. Hi, Simon.
Hi, Maxine.
Very warm welcome to you all, and thank you very much for your time this afternoon to talk about our leadership programme. So, Paul, perhaps if I come to you first, why is this leadership programme being created? You know, who's it for?
Thanks, Maxine. Well, I have to say it's great to be back again this year, having successfully delivered the course last year. And I guess the purpose and the reasons for setting up the course haven't changed. We recognise there's a really exciting opportunity to support what is a potential gap in the market, to support our future leaders in knowledge exchange. The course and the programme itself is very much focused around strategic leadership. So we're looking for people who are either wanting to move into a more strategic role within their organisation, or maybe have just stepped into a strategic role. We very much see the cohorts that we are delivering to as future KE leaders. So again, a really exciting journey to be on. But I guess are quite specific about this not being a hand-holding exercise. It's experiential. People have to come and learn and engage in the programme. But there are real benefits to be had there, I think, from a career planning perspective, you know, long term, both for the individual and also for the organisation, for the sector as a whole. So a really exciting journey, and one, as I say, we're happy to be repeating again next year.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And Anne, of course, I mean, I guess, you know, we talk about this being specifically for KE practitioners looking to move into a leadership role. What do you think are the particular challenges that a KE practitioner might face as they move into that position?
Well, I think actually I spoke on the first course last year in terms of influencing, and that one was one of the main areas I think that I thought was a priority. And now I'm a director on the course planning, so I can bring that into the programme. I think really it's the constantly changing landscape that knowledge practitioners, knowledge exchange practitioners are up against. And that can be government priorities changing, institutional priorities changing, and faculty priorities changing. So at all levels, really, I think, of the environment in which we all engage. I think talking about influencing, being able to shape that knowledge exchange agenda yourself. So building influencing skills, networking both internally and externally, and then knowing who the key people are outside of your organisation and inside. I think are really challenging ways, but they can also help you in meeting your goals and aspirations too.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's something that resonates, Paul, from your perspective as well, in terms of particular challenges that people might encounter.
Absolutely, and you can see those common challenges across the diverse range of institutions or higher education institutions that PraxisAuril serves. So again, the makeup of the directors on the course itself, and that combination of internal and external expertise that we bring onto the programme helps us actually tackle some of those challenges and provide some real life case study examples of people who've been through that process before. So really powerful.
Fantastic. So Simon, I wanted to ask you a bit about the difference between leadership and management, because I think it's not something that's always well understood.
No, Maxine, it's a fair point. It tends not to be, and the opener would be a really strong organisation needs both leadership and management. And I think the differences can be boiled down to perspectives and stakeholders. I think with management is very much about the here and now, running an efficient organisation and organising resources. And the resources can be people, but it can also be things like budgets. You can look at intellectual property, you can look at real estate. So the whole gamut of resources can be managed. But when it comes to leadership, if management is about efficiency, leadership tends to be around effectiveness. So the leader is more likely, as Anne was intimating there, to use their influence to make something that otherwise wouldn't have happened happen. So leadership tends to be very much future focused. The only resource you lead is people, so it's very much a human activity. And it is often a distinction between an organisation that is merely competent and one that is merely that goes on to be excellent. So I think for me they are the key points.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm assuming that Anne and Paul are completely on board with that too. So I won't need to ask you any more about that. So so let's think about some of the practicalities then. So Anne, how do people apply to join the programme? Is it just, is there a selection process? What information will people need in order to apply?
Yeah, so there will be a selection process, and we ask people to get their applications in by the 25th of February, which is the deadline, and they'll be notified by the 20th of March whether they've been successful or not. The review process is that we anonymise everyone who applies, and then the group of the directors will then review the group. We rank according to score for things like experience, must be endorsed by their own line manager as well. They must as well acknowledge that it needs full engagement and active participation in the course. So we rank them according to score, and then we will select from that group.
And will so can multiple attendees come from any one organisation? I mean, do you limit who can attend from one organisation?
They can come from one organisation. At the moment, there isn't a limit, but we will review that when we see the whole group, because clearly people will get more benefit, particularly in terms of networking and building their contact base, if we have people from as many institutions as possible. So what I would say is we prefer not to have a block booking, say, from one institution. It makes it easier, and I think it makes the course more valuable if we have a really diverse group of people.
Yeah, no, that's really a really good point. Yeah. So just talking then about sort of the learning and the networking community that we're hoping is created around the course. And I'm assuming that the programme itself is going to be a combination of face-to-face and online. Paul, what are you thinking in terms of how we make that happen?
So it's interesting, actually. So we're going from a slightly unusual situation where we delivered fully online last year. And we were keen, of course, to run a blend of face-to-face and online, which we are intending to do, government guidance aside, next year, because of all the benefits you get from face-to-face interactions. And we've tried to keep the programme lively, interesting, interactive and engaging by changing up the sessions. So, difference between, workshops, panel sessions, breakout groups, informal meals in the evening, just to kind of bring the cohort together to enhance that whole experience. So it's a really great opportunity to network with your peers across the sector, share best practice. but also to engage from people from right across the sector, both involved directly and indirectly in KE. And we were really keen with the previous cohort and the future cohorts to make sure that we've got diverse representation from the KE community. You know, we've got a huge range of prospective leaders across the sector. We want this course to be attractive to all and make sure that diverse group of individuals and organisations is well represented on the programme. And I have to say, just to add to Anne's points as well, that support and endorsement from the individual institutions and the line managers is really key, you know, because that shows that the individuals who are being put forward are on that path to strategic leadership, already just stepped in there. So it's really important to get that second endorsement.
Fantastic. And I mean, I can sort of speak from obviously the experience of the last year or 18 months of online events, that, you know, actually what we've seen is that the increased accessibility of online, it means that it's quite an important element of what we offer, I think, moving forward. So I'm really pleased to see that there's kind of a hybrid approach to the programme for next year. Thank you all so much. Really looking forward to hearing how it goes next year. So just to remind people, registration opens in January for that next programme, which is running from April until June. And as Anne mentioned, the application deadline is set for the 25th of February, at which point then the selection process will begin. So yeah, all is left for me to say is, if you're aspiring one day to operate at a national, international level as a leader in the KE sector, then do have a look at what this programme has to offer. Some really brilliant people involved, and we look forward to seeing you at another PraxisAuril event soon. Thank you all very much.